When some object has integrity, it means it has a wholeness to it, an inner strength holding it together in one piece. It is, if you will, together, like its verb to integrate, to bring together, or the adjective integrated, all in one. The object, then, has integrity. The same meaning applies to us, humans. To have integrity is to be in one piece, not a fragmented personality, not behaving one way to one person and the opposite way to another, not behaving in various ways that various people want us to behave, but behaving as we are, behaving as we see it, behaving as we believe it, consistently. That is, with integrity. It obviously implies with honesty, honesty in the sense of not being deceitful, but integrity is the better word. As Emerson says, nothing is at last sacred but the integrity of your own mind. Nothing is more important to you than this integrity, this oneness of yourself acting as you with no deceit. Again, people may not like what you say or like what you do, but in the end, if you are sure of your convictions, sure of your moral and ethical values, sure you are acting rightly and for the good, then this integrity, they can only come to respect. Without integrity, who are you anyway? Who are you? Lincoln knew who he was. Before his presidency, he practiced as a lawyer, could stand to make a lot of money, as some lawyers do, by winning cases for his clients. But making money by winning cases was not his sole intent. He obviously saw clearly the difference between legal rights and moral rights. His beliefs favored the latter. His integrity would allow no compromise on that score. Said Lincoln to a potential client willing to pay well for his services, quote, "Yes, we can doubtless gain your case for you. We can set a whole neighborhood at loggerheads. We can distress a widowed mother and her 6 fatherless children, and thereby get for you $600, to which you seem to have a legal right, but which rightfully belongs, it appears to me, as much to the woman and her children as it does to you. You must remember, however, that some things legally right are not morally right. We shall not take your case, but we will give you a little advice for which we will charge you nothing. You seem to be a sprightly, energetic man. We would advise you to try your hand at making $600 in some other way. End quote. Some things legally right are not morally right. Socrates went further. He chose to die before stopping his teaching of the values that he held near and dear. Socrates was born about 400 years BC, that is, well over 2,000 years ago. He was one of the greatest of the Greek philosophers. He left no writings of his own, but his greatest pupil, Plato, has given us a brilliant account of his teachings. Socrates was interested only in philosophizing about human problems. His guiding rule was, know thyself. He believed that goodness in a man was based on wisdom, and wickedness was based on ignorance. No wise man would deliberately choose what was bad for him in the long run, but most men, through ignorance, may choose an evil that appears to be good at the time. His method, the Socratic method, was one of questioning, getting an answer, questioning again, getting another slant on the answer, questioning again, embarrassing questions until the essence of truth became clear. His methods finally offended several important people in the city. They made up charges that he tried to introduce new gods and was corrupting youth. At his trial, he defended himself in a speech Plato describes in the Apology. Socrates was found guilty and condemned to death. He spent his last days in prison, patiently instructing his friends. The last day he spent discussing the immortality of the soul. When the sun set, he quietly drank the poisoned cup of hemlock that the jailer brought him and died in peace. Part of his speech reads, quote, "Perhaps someone will say, 'Are you not ashamed, Socrates, of following pursuits which are very likely now to cause your death?' I should answer him with justice and say, 'My friend, if you think that a man of any worth at all ought to reckon the hours of life and death when he acts, or that he ought to think of anything but whether he is acting rightly or wrongly, and as a good or a bad man would act, you are grievously mistaken. For this, Athenians, I believe to be the truth. Wherever a man's post is, there it is his duty to remain and face the danger without thinking of any other thing except dishonor." End quote. And dishonor to Socrates was not following what he felt to be right and good. For nothing is at last sacred but the integrity of your own mind. How would you rate your integrity? First ask, who am I anyway? And then, do I truly act as I am. Thank you. In loving children, love requires letting go, allowing the child to become himself or herself according to his own abilities, his own thoughts and feelings. This isn't easy for the parent, but Khalil Gibran tells well what must happen, what must be allowed to happen in his poem on children. The parents, the father and mother, asked the Prophet, "Speak to us of children." And he said, "Your children are not your children. They are the sons and daughters of life's longing for itself. They come through you, but not from you. And though they are with you, yet they belong not to you. You may give them your love, but not your thoughts, for they have their own thoughts. You may house their bodies, but not their souls, for their souls dwell in the house of tomorrow, which you cannot visit, not even in your dreams. You may strive to be like them, but seek not to make them like you, for life goes not backward, nor tarries with yesterday."